So this is actually, I think, the most upbeat thing.
Okay.
This is something that you already know about, but it was a charisma breakthrough of the week. We have had people pirating our courses for a long time. It happens on Google. It happens everywhere. But increasingly, it's been happening on Instagram, which is especially frustrating because what people have started doing is setting up fake accounts that pretend to be me, or just keeping their account, but following people that follow Charisma on Command or me and hitting them up in the DMs, being like, hey, I want to sell you this course for $10 or...
Yeah, they basically steal our stuff and then
Yeah.
try to find our fans and sell it to them.
Yes.
Thus stealing from us and profiting themselves.
And so I have no idea how many people take this, but I actually have, I was pleasantly surprised, or maybe it's just a small subset of the total. So many people hit me up being like, hey, this seems really shady. Just wanted you to know about this.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah,
we
which
wouldn't
is-
have known otherwise.
Which is super kind of them. And the way that Instagram works is they say, okay, show me your copyrighted content. And I go, well, they haven't posted it on their Instagram. What they're saying is give me your email, and they're using your platform to conduct illegal activity, essentially, which is, taking the copyrighted content. But Instagram won't do anything about it.
Yeah, which is super annoying.
Yes.
I feel like this is a little tangent, but I feel like a lot of these
Let's talk about platforms. Yeah.
A lot of these platforms hide under the shield of like, oh, I'm a platform. Like,
Yeah.
I can't be charged with copyright. I'm
Yeah.
a platform. Like, oh, you're getting totally fucked because someone's stealing your course. Like, I'm a platform.
Yeah.
And then when you say something they disagree with politically that comes against their like ideology, censored, disbanded, deplatformed. It's like, okay, you can't do that part if you're a platform. If you're a platform, you are just supposed to be the Wild West. If you're gonna do that, then you should stop people from stealing from me. Because you're at this point, you're saying I'm a person that runs a business that's not a platform, and I stop illegal activity.
Sure.
But for now, they just like pick and choose when it's convenient.
I can actually defend that, and I want to get back to the happy part of this. But telephones or utilities or platforms. You can use telephones to conduct illegal activity.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's straight up allowed.
They also cannot disconnect my phone if I say something they don't like.
Exactly.
If I call you.
Exactly.
And they love a certain presidential candidate, and I go, that candidate sucks. And also, this disease isn't real. And I just say a bunch of shit in my telephone. They cannot just take away my service the next day because they were listening into my call.
Yeah.
So that's a real platform.
I agree. So what we'd like to see, it sounds like, is...
Just pick one. Are you a platform, or are you a company that censors people?
Yes, or a private company.
You can't be a platform that censors people. That's not how platform law is supposed to work.
So in any event, the good news about this is that this one particular person, I've got no recourse really, but we're going, what do we say? Do we like send one of those cease and desist letters that has, is just threatening? And you wrote a message to this person, which was really good. It's kind of like a no teeth ask, which is, you wrote him, hey person, I've gotten a number of messages that you've been trying to sell my course via Instagram. Can you please stop? I worked very hard on this, and it's how I run my business and pay my team.
Yeah, it's how I support myself. It's how I support the team. I just kind of humanize this. I think a lot of times Charisma on Command it's like Procter and Gamble. We're not. Like, I made this. I worked hard on this. When you steal it, you steal money from my pocket, and you take away my ability to pay my team. So my goal was like, all right, the only thing we can do is try to humanize ourselves. Because I didn't think this was the kind of person who would come up on me in an alley, hit me in the back of the head, and steal my wallet. I think he thought it was harmless. You know what I mean? So that was my only goal with the message. Just be like, I'm a person. This hurts me emotionally, financially.
You're making me sad.
Yeah.
Well, they wrote me back and said, hey, I'm sorry. I will stop. Yeah. And I'm in a bad financial situation, and I'm trying to get out of it. And so I've written back a handful of things, but my instinct was to include in there, if you don't do this, then I will, like some sort of light threat. And I actually think it would have been way less effective with any sort of threat. And I was struck by because when you wrote it, how it had no ultimatum, it had zero teeth to it.
I just said, can you please stop?
Can you please stop? And you're good at this. That to me, I didn't write it because I knew I couldn't write it, because I cannot genuflect like that. I can't be like, I could not have wrote please in there. Like, it just would not have come out of my fingers. But it is a really, really good charisma move that deserves to make it into some of the videos that we've done or courses or something, because I've seen you do it in the past, and it is wildly effective. I'm going to call it the no teeth ask from now on, because it has no bite to it. There's no penalty, and it is so much more effective. And where it is especially effective is when you truly have no recourse.
Yeah.
Like if you're actually like, look, could you please stop? I do have lawyers on hand, and I genuinely don't mean to use them, but like next step is I have your address, and we'll be sending you court dates.
I'll give the counterexample.
Yeah.
Our friend was being sued because he runs a company and they fired a Latina woman, and she was suing them because of discrimination because she was the only Latina woman at the company and got fired. Except that's not true. They have other Latina people. She was fired for explicit reasons. So she writes them an email saying, I'm suing you unless you settle with me out of court. She's just looking for money because she doesn't want to get a job. It's COVID and she was fired or whatever. And their CEO writes back and says, hey, I'm CCing my very expensive legal team on this email. You are absolutely welcome to take us to court. I look forward to them winning this case and you reimbursing them for their legal fees once you lose. Because that was like legitimately what was going to happen. He was just saying, you have no case whatsoever. And this is going to hurt you if you do this. And she backed off completely.
Yeah.
So I think that's an appropriate time to have a teeth response, which is like, you're way out of line. I have recourse. I know exactly how this is going to play out. It's better for everyone if you just don't do this.
Yeah, it's kind of like don't point a gun that you don't intend to fire, and don't point a gun at a person if you don't intend to take a life. And that's obviously the extreme version, but don't make threats that you don't 100% intend to follow through on or even intimate.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the guy in the bar that talks a bunch of shit, but then gets knocked out because he like didn't intend on fighting. He was just puffing his chest up. It's like, yeah, don't do that.
Never do that. Never do that. You're better off literally just asking people to stop and saying, weirdly enough, this hurts my feelings. And it, I worked hard on this. It was, to me, and I'm not saying that it is, it feels, and I imagine to some of our fans, pathetic to prostrate yourself to someone who has done you wrong and say, could you please stop? This hurts my feelings. I worked hard. Like, to me, those are words that I hear 9-year-olds saying. Like, but it's effective, So yeah, no empty threats, and when you got nothing, go with the no teeth.
It also reminds me of this time someone was being a dick when we were on a trip in Costa Rica. I think it was Costa Rica, where we were with a group of like 20 people, and one guy was just getting drunk and like had a chip on his shoulder against me. I think he thought I was like well respected in the group, and his way of getting well respected in the group was just to constantly like try to tease me and pick at me. Now, this might have only worked because I was in that particular group like fairly high status. You know what I mean? He wasn't like picking on the loser of the group. Yeah. But I was like, what do I do here? Like, I'm not going to beat him up. We all have these mutual friends. I want him to stop. This is getting very old very quickly.
I just want to underscore, this person, if I recall, was smaller than you.
Yes.
And you could have gotten away with a threat, which is what men sometimes do when there's alcohol, is they make these physical threats, or they stand up, they puff their chest out.
I could have even pulled him aside. Could have not embarrassed him in public. Just hey man, can I talk to you? Hey, you say one more thing about me, I'm going to knock you out. Yeah. And I'm warning you now. Could have worked. Might have worked. Just didn't feel like the right way to do it. But he's smaller than me and just being a dick. And instead, like, we were just on a bus to a party, and it publicly was like, hey man, I used to really like you before this trip. These jokes are getting old. I don't really want to spend any more time with you if you keep this up. Like, don't expect to ever see me when this trip is over, because you're not going to be my friend after this. It was something to that effect. Just saying, like, it's hurting me. Here's the consequence. Like, it wasn't a toothless threat, but it also wasn't, I'm going to beat you up. It's just like, I'm making it you overtly aware that I think you're being rude and have no interest in seeing you if you keep doing it. And he stopped. I was surprised at how much he stopped. I was just being honest. I was just like, I have nothing. I can beat you up or be honest. And immediately on a dime, he stopped. And again, I think that could be because I wasn't like in the group, the butt of the jokes. I'm not saying that would work for everyone, but after it happened, I was surprised at how immediate the effect was of just being like, yeah, I don't like this, and I'm gonna stop being your friend if you keep doing it.
Yeah, what you're good at is saying things, and I don't mean this. This is not meant to be like an underhanded mean thing, that sound childish but are incredibly effective. Like, I'm not gonna be your friend anymore. I can't say that because it sounds too weak, but it is so effective.
Yeah. I also didn't say it angrily. I didn't scream at him.
No, you said it in a monotone, but also mildly hurt way. I remember it. You're like, this hurts my feelings.
Well, I wasn't being nice though. I wasn't like, hey man, listen. Like, I just said it like it was, like pretty monotone and honest. No,
you were good at saying this hurts my feelings and it makes me not want to be your friend. And it works.
Or like,
well.
Hey, you're stealing from me.
Yeah.
It's like, I need this money to pay my team and buy food.
If I have to, and I don't want to linger on this too long, but what I guess I sense that you are good at doing that I am not is indicating that people have hurt you. I hate letting them know. Like, and you call it out. You're saying like, hey, I worked hard on this and this hurts me. Or like, hey, what you're saying hurts my feelings. I can't do that.
Interesting. I wonder why. What do you think the difference is?
To me, that is a weakness that I'm unwilling to be vulnerable about. Like the fact that you got to me is like, listen, you're not getting to me, man, but like I'm not comfortable expressing that in that direct 3-word statement. You hurt me is very uncomfortable for me. Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.